Roundtable. Nick O, how you doing?
Doing well.
Those new to the show, make sure you check it out. We've been putting a lot of good stuff out here. You get no ad reads. You get nothing. You might get some dick jokes and some great content. We're going tight end tiers here, okay? We're going to break down. This is Fantasypros ECR. We're breaking down the tiers, where they have them, who do we like, who do we not like, who's overvalued. Right? Half PPR.
Half PPR.
He's helping me out here. Got a great stat of the day for you.
Ooh, I like it.
Involves David Njoku. You know, is one of my favorites.
Yep.
Always has been.
Yeah, the Predator.
Yes, the Predator. So in the last 2 seasons, since Deshaun Watson's been there, he has played 10 games with Deshaun Watson. He's averaged 34 yards receiving a game. Without Deshaun Watson, in 21 games, he's averaged 60 yards receiving. That's with Joe Flacco and P.J. Washington and a whole bunch of bums. That's pretty alarming.
Yeah. That's a big difference.
And, you know, we're going to talk about Njoku who's going tight end 10, which seems like a value. I mean, he's going to be safe, steady, you know, for...
I'm not even sure he's going that high. I get he's there on ECR right now, but a lot of the ranks that I'm seeing out there have him quite a bit lower. I'm surprised.
You get Goddard going ahead of him, Bowers, Freiermuth, Schultz, but I mean...
Even Komet and Musgrave, I think some people like better than Njoku, and I have a hard time...
I just thought that was kind of an alarming stat.
It is.
And we know Deshaun Watson's just... I don't know, he's a bum.
Fully back, fully healthy?
Depending on how many hand jobs he's gotten, yes. I do have a quick, a little nugget for you, since it's me and you. I'm going to go back to the old school here.
Little nugget.
So... this is kind of an outdated thing, but I had this in here. We haven't done it. Ahmad Rashad. You know, remember him?
Yeah.
So OJ just passed away a couple months ago. Let's not pour one out for him.
I mean, I'll pour one out for when he actually played football.
Yeah.
And Naked Gun.
And Naked Gun. I just watched that.
I'll give you that.
All right. So you know Ahmad Rashad, who his groomsmen were in his wedding?
No idea.
OJ Simpson and Bill Cosby.
Uh-oh.
That's for real.
Uh-oh.
That did not age well, dude.
That's crazy.
So it got me to thinking.
What's Rashad up to these days?
I don't know, man. Defending them in jail? What it got me to think of, what's the worst celebrity groomsmen party you can come up with? I'm going to add 3 names to this in terms of like modern pop culture. Harvey Weinstein, Michael Jackson, and Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, jeez.
But I feel like those 2 are pretty bad, dude.
That is rough. That is an offensive 5.
That's an offensive 5.
That's an offensive line right there.
Oh, my God. All right, we're getting to the tight end tiers here, buddy. Going off ECR, Fantasy Pros. Let's go landscape first.
Landscape.
So.
We're going landscape. And you know you make the tree look bigger, you trim the bushes.
Oh, my God. When I trim the bushes? Oh, my gosh. Tight end landscape. This is said to be a great tight end year, but I kind of hear that every year. Right? And it's always bad.
They're never great.
It's always bad.
Never great.
But I have been looking at this, and I think it's pretty good. So you got the top 4. We're going to go through the names later, but like it's the middle guys, which is like the tight end dead zone that always disappoints. They always have reasons why.
The third tier. Is that where you're
at?
The
second tier.
You think second tier
5 through 10 always disappoints.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they're guys we take in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, and we're like, oh, this has upside for 8 touchdowns or 1,000 yards or 80 catches, and they don't do any of the 3. Except for maybe one guy.
So you wait and take your shot normally.
Usually I'll wait for after 12.
You feel a lot better about that second tier this year?
I kind of do, man.
Okay.
I kind of do.
Okay.
Do you like it or no?
I do, and I think there's a definite difference between the second and third tier, but depending on where they're falling in the draft, I still might wait till that third tier. I try and punt the tight end position when I can, but the board falls or a guy falls or whatever you like. I mean, there's a little bit of safety involved with the top ones. But like you said, what's the hit rate out of the second tier tight ends? 50-50?
Not even, dude.
Yeah.
40-60.
So it's pretty risky for what you got to pay.
All right, first tier here, Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce, Trey McBride, and Mark Andrews rounding it out at 4. Mr. Laporta, we have to eat crow on last year. We were not on him. We were Michael Mayer fans.
We're going to tip our cap to Story,
we are.
too.
Story called it.
Yep.
Didn't really call the tight end 1 finish. Do you think he deserves to be number 1? Let's start with that.
I think it's still Kelce, if I got to be honest. The safety, the repeatability. You saw Laporta do it 1 year. Who knows? They had nothing besides Amon-Ra in that pass game last year. Who knows if it's Jameson Williams going to show out or what's going to happen outside of Amon-Ra. But I don't know. I think he's going to have a hard time repeating the touchdowns.
Yeah, my thing with the Kelce thing is it's the opposite. Where he had 5 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
Like Kelce is not the player he was.
Too.
But what is Kelce? A security blanket that they find ways to get open inside the 5.
Yeah.
Because their running game, they don't necessarily trust as much, and they just trust Mahomes.
But
a little flip pass, like he's going to have 8.
Is Hollywood not the best receiver that Mahomes has had to play with yet? Rice looked like he was stepping up for whenever he's going to be there.
Well, if Story was here, he'd just yell at you for talking about Hollywood. So,
I know.
So, okay, Kelsey, then what do you think about Trey McBride? Here's a hot one here. Number 3, killed it last year. I saw he had like the most tight end screens in the league, which is huge. That's free fantasy points. The guy's great at yak.
It is.
Now he has a number 1 receiver next to him. Kyler healthier. I think it's really rich for my blood. But, like, it's safe.
In half, I don't like him there. In full, I'm good with him there. It is safe. That offensive line's still awful. So, what are you going to see? Get the ball out quick. Do those tight end screens. I don't think it's going to... Scheme is going to be much different there.
Right. Mark Andrews, pretty much steady number 4, coming off that injury. He did come back for the playoffs, though, correct?
Yeah, and the fact that he showed up at the end of the year, no question about his health right now. Likely did a good job filling in, and from what I've been hearing, they want to continue to involve Likely, but they're lining him up in a lot of different places. So I think that only helps Andrews.
It doesn't hurt him because he's not going to lose the snaps.
Exactly.
He's never been a Travis Kelce, George Kittle 90% guy. He's a 65, 70% play him when you use him kind of guy. They don't want to overuse him in blocking. He's going to get his red zone looks. He's going to get his big plays. I don't see the upside with Mark Andrews as much. I think Trey McBride has more upside than Mark Andrews.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
I think Baltimore's got a better run game than they've ever had before. And
I think Trey McBride has more volume.
Yeah.
Which volume translate, man. And like unless Lamar Jackson throws 32 touchdowns, which he doesn't do.
Not typically.
No.
He did throw a lot more last year. He was a lot more pure passer last year, but
are you set with these 4 as any order? Do you have a different order you'd put them in?
Yeah, I'd put Kelce 1.
Kelce 1, and then you like
McBride 4.
Okay.
But I'd put the guy who had the most receiving yards at tight end last year up in the first tier too. Personally, the only tight end to catch over 1,000 was Kittle. I'd put him up at the bottom of that first tier. I think he's separated himself a little bit from that second tier.
You don't think... Well, so let's go to the second tier real quick, and we'll talk about jumping them. We have Dalton Kincaid at 5, George Kittle at 6, Kyle Pitts at 7, who is just always going to be in that 5, 6, 7 range, no matter what. Evan Ingram at 8, who had like the most catches in the league at 10.
I love Ingram in PPR.
Jake Ferguson at 9, and David Njoku at 10. So you think Kittle deserves to be in the first tier? I have an argument for Kincaid possibly being in that first tier with the amount of receiving... the receivers they lost, Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs.
Catches are gone from that team from last year?
Targets, so many, like 80%, dude.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's Khalil Shakur.
And is Knox going to challenge him?
But I feel like they're just going to play him as a big slot. The big Cole Beasley role.
I like where their head's at. The logic makes sense to me, but I got trust issues because of how last year went as a whole. It's a little riskier of a pick, but it's a lot higher reward, right? He's high ceiling.
Do you think... George Kittle's definitely safer because he's George Kittle.
Yeah.
Do you think Kincaid has more upside, though, in terms of the role in the offense?
Yeah, with Ayuk and Debo, McCaffrey, absolutely.
There's no way Kittle has 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. It's just not. It can't happen.
I don't think so.
He could maybe have the touchdowns.
One or the other, maybe, or 1,008.
I feel like Kincaid could do both, but Kincaid could also have 703.
Yeah, so I'd rather take the 1,008 and not waste my earlier round pick. I don't want to take that risk on that second-tier tight end.
All right, Kyle Pitts.
Oh, you know what I heard? I heard Atlanta is thinking of using him at receiver.
Oh, really? They've been doing that for the last couple years.
That could be huge for this guy.
Oh, my God.
We should put him in the top 10 if he's going to play receiver.
I love Kyle Pitts, man, and it's just I'm going to probably still get him in a couple spots just because just like an honorary pick in my home league so people can laugh at me. But
draft him in the Where It's At league. We got the trophy here.
Yeah, trophy. There it is.
Rob and I are both on there once in a lot of second
my
places.
name is I'm the effing Bills because I have 2 or 3 seconds and only 1 first.
Yep.
And I think I won second back-to-back years.
And I'm Kenny Powers, the MF CEO.
That's right.
Hashtag Commish, who everybody loves to hate because I always mix things up a little.
He always has his goofy scoring. I hate the tinkering. Keep it the same, you bitch. So Kyle Pitts, if it's not going to happen this year, it's never going to happen.
No, dude.
It's never going to happen.
This is like, you have burned the bridge so hard with me. If you don't do it this year, you will never see one of my teams again for the rest of your career.
My problem is he's going around the range of Kincaid and Kittle, who I'm not really a big fan of, but also you have Evan Ingram at 8, who is like the clear number 2 in that passing attack. And like he's only 30 years old. What did we see last year? They got him involved everywhere. Not so many touchdowns, but like,
him and T-Law have chemistry.
They do.
He's a safety blanket.
They do.
I think people are sleeping on Ingram a little bit.
Like you could never take Pitts over Ingram, right? Like it'd just be silly. Like the upside. Like what's the upside of Pitts? He doesn't catch touchdowns. He's always out of shape. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
He always plays through injuries, which is the worst. He's like the bad version of Calvin Johnson, where he just plays as a decoy.
Yeah. Now, Pitts is the bottom of this tier for me, personally.
And then you also have Jake Ferguson and David Njoku.
And who's Dallas have besides CeeDee?
Brandon Cooks, who's old. And
I don't
kinda
believe
washed.
in. I don't believe in
No,
him.
he'll be okay. But
I think Ferguson's underrated too. I
He
think
is.
Ferguson's a safer pick than
Ferguson
people
has
realize.
the biggest touchdown equity. Like, if you told me Jake Ferguson led the league in tight end touchdowns, I would not be surprised.
No, because what's Zeke going to run him in?
No.
It's going to be
Like,
CD and
CeeDee
Ferguson.
Lamb's going to get double teams.
Yeah.
And, like, Jake Ferguson, man, I feel like he
That's-
has a lot of upside there at 9. And then Njoku, I feel like, is safe and steady at 10. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get to the next tier. I'm just going to throw Brock Bowers in there before we go to the next tier because he is the top of the next tier. Let's throw him at 11 because he's going to be a hot commodity after Laporta last year, after some of the rookie performances we've seen. Even Kyle Pitts' rookie year was
There's
good.
not a lot of good rookie years out of tight ends, though.
No,
I mean,
but
it's
recent memory, Kyle Pitts did actually have his
Yeah.
best year was his rookie year.
And you saw Laporta do it last year, so that recency bias. Maybe you think Bowers will.
And
I'm
Brock
not
Bowers is a
touching
way
Bowers,
better prospect than Sam Laporta was. Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah,
And
he looks better.
the situation isn't as good in terms of offense, quarterback, scheme, but there's not that much there outside of Adams, right? And Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's not much else there. There's Michael Mayer there.
Yeah.
You're not touching Bowers at all, huh? You don't like him as if you wait on tight end, dude? The
Not-
allure of possibly being the number 2 option in that offense?
Potentially, but I think I'd rather have let's see, 1, 2. There's the 2 guys after him, and I wouldn't put him up in the second tier either.
So we have Dallas Goedert at 12, Pat Fryermuth at 13, Dalton Schultz at 14, Cole Kmet at 15, and we'll stop it at TJ Hawkinson at 16 because we don't know when the hell he's going to play.
But a healthy Hawkinson, that's a steal. But when are you going to get him?
New week 9,
Yeah.
8. And also, why would they rush him back when their schedule is rough?
Yeah.
Dude, they're going to be 1 and 5.
That's why they're starting Sam Darnold. Let him take the beating.
Right. So, I mean, Dallas Goedert, I'm off, dude. I'm off. Because he looked like a shell of himself last year. He is not the same player. He used to be dynamic. And he needs touchdowns. And Jalen Hurts doesn't throw touchdowns.
No.
He rushes touchdowns.
He does.
We have Saquon Barkley coming in there, stealing some more touchdowns.
He is gonna steal touchdowns.
A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Dude, where are they at?
Is the tush push going to work without Kelsey in the middle?
It's still going to be 8 instead of 12.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
So and he still does run a little bit
If
inside
his
the 5.
touchdowns aren't there, I guess I'd probably drop him.
But
a
there's
couple
no
spots
juice
too.
with Dallas Goedert. And I love Dallas Goedert. Originally, I was like, this is good value. And I started thinking, I was like, what is Dallas Goedert's upside? Maybe 800 yards and 8 touchdowns?
I think so.
Maybe? I'm saying, but that's his upside,
That's his
dude.
ceiling.
I told you, Jake Ferguson could have 12 touchdowns. And 1,000 yards. I'm telling you, Brock Bowers does have upside to have 90 catches. Like, I know, like, it's weird to say, but he is a generational player. From all accounts, I'm not a tight end guru or a college guru, but, like, he was the guy freshman year at Georgia, and he's only gotten better, and his metrics are great. His
quite a
draft
bit of
capital's high. You got a bad quarterback situation, whether it's Gardner Minshew or O'Connell. Like, they're going to check down.
I read an article today that said they're waiting for one of them to step up and be the guy. Like, how awful is that, dude?
Not great. It's not great. And then Dalton Schultz. Oh, let's talk about Fryermuth, because I'm actually pretty high on Fryermuth.
I am too.
There's nothing there at all. And he
No,
had a really bad
Pickens.
year. Actually, make this bet now. I made his bet. You know what his receiving yard number is at in Vegas right now?
Mm-mm.
What do you think it's at? Season-long total. 17 games.
It's got to be a deal. That's why you're talking about it. Let's say 650.
475.
No way.
Yeah, bro.
He'll easily
So
get
low,
475.
dude. What is that, like 30 yards a game?
I'm saying 750 for him easy.
Well, tight ends, injuries. I mean,
Yeah, I guess,
that's
but there's
super
nothing
low.
else there.
But also, that kind of scares me away in a way, because why has Vegas set it so low?
Yeah. But Fields obviously used Komet. We saw Komet have good
and Russell
good
Wilson
jobs.
dumped down Sally,
Yeah.
dude. Now
Yeah.
in this stage of his career.
So I don't care which one of them starting. They're going
Right.
to utilize the tight end position.
And Darnell Washington is a blocker.
Yeah.
And they have Van Jefferson and Robin Wilson, who I guess is already hurt. Kind of like Robin Wilson. I think
Okay.
he's a scrapper, a
Is he
Heinz
hurt?
Ward type. I like that pick for the Steelers. I was saying there's nothing else there besides Pickens. And Pickens is also kind of a knucklehead. And, like, he's never been a target monster. I don't care if they throw the ball 450 times. Pat Fryermuth's getting 80 targets.
You would think so.
That looks like 60 catches. That probably looks like 550 yards minimum.
Because I don't see that team being up and running the rock very often. And you know,
not that division.
Yeah, they got good
They're
running
gonna try
backs,
to.
but you're not going to run away with it with Cincy and Baltimore.
Right, and then we have Dalton Schultz at 14, who is pretty low. There's just a lot of mouths there, and he is the poor man's version of George Kittle in this case, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Good
Reminds me of
offense.
San
He's
Francisco.
going to run himself into 6. If everything is what they say it is, and C.J. Stroud's his generational player, this offense takes the next leap. Offensive line's a little better. They will have a better running game, but that's not necessarily going to hurt the tight end. I can see him running himself into 7 or 8 little dink and dunk touchdowns, right?
Yeah,
He's not a dynamic player.
But you got to remember, too, at tight end, when you're getting down into this range, all the tight end ones are technically off the board. Somebody's sitting on 2 of them, or you're just throwing your dart each week, and none of them are going to hit every week. So I'd rather take the guy that has the potential for volume more so than the guy that's got a ton of mouths to feed in this tier.
Right, and then Cole Kmet 15. Again, same thing. A lot of mouths. Did really well. A lot of mouths, dude. This is Bukaki. No, actually, no. Bukaki's one mouth.
Yeah.
So, like, it's the opposite of Bukaki. Like,
It's in reverse.
Yeah,
I don't know how that works.
well, that's like opposite Bukaki is like one dick and like 8 mouths. You better have a lot of sprays, dude. Like, you gotta be like, I gotta like spread the wealth here. Here's a spray for you. Here's a spray for you. That's a talent, dude.
Is Caleb Williams got a super soaker? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. He's the rookie.
Oh man, Story just be shaking his head right now. I love it. Love you, Story. Cole Kmet 15. He did well last year. I like him. He's a serviceable player.
Yep.
I just don't know where the targets are going to be.
That's about where I would
90
end my
targets
tier,
max.
though, man. If I'm being honest.
Yeah. I have a couple of guys I want to talk about. Luke Musgrave at 17. They also have Tucker Kraft, who they are like the same player. He came back. Right? He was hurt last year with a shoulder injury. They look similar. And then Hunter Henry is always there, but I don't think there's anything there. But 2 guys I want to talk about. Cade Otton at 19. Cade Otton plays every snap for the Bucs. Every snap. Yeah. They never have a third receiver. Baker, I like Cade Otton, man. I've been finding him in best ball all the time as my last guy. Mm-hmm. I'm like, he's going to have 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and like that's going to be 4 weeks for me. You
know how many darts I threw with Otton last year? Just adding him, playing him a week, dropping him, adding him, playing him a week, dropping him.
You go 4 for 40 with a touchdown every once in a while.
Yeah.
And you get like 7 targets.
No, it's solid upside, right? Yeah. Like not great, but it's solid.
And the last guy, I had 2 more guys. Noah Fant at 24 because they got rid of Kobe Parkinson, and I don't know who the other guy they had there was. There was 2 tight ends. They had a 3 tight end system. Pete Carroll's gone. They don't have the 3 tight end system. Noah Fant, they just paid 3 years, $24 million, I believe. I've always loved Noah Fant. I've always loved him. Out of Iowa, guy can play. He's super fast. Maybe he puts it together at tight end 24. I feel like you can do much worse there in terms of best ball or anything that. Keep an eye on the guy. I feel like he could be a streamer.
Yeah, you've got 3 good receivers up there, and who knows what Geno you're going to get from week to week, but absolute streamer, or if you completely punt the position, that's the guy that you roll out week 1, see what happens, right? Yeah. If it's not there for you, you move around. My other one, even later than that I'm intrigued by, and it grosses me out a little bit, is Mike Gesicki in Cincinnati.
Yeah, we talked about him in the last. I mean, it was the same thing with Irv Smith last year. I like the landing spot. I thought you were going to say Irv Smith. And then also I want to shout out Ben Sinnott. I did him as a deep sleeper. He is in Washington.
Whoa. Zach Ertz is there, buddy. Just hold your horses.
Zach Ertz was there last year. I said it's the same thing as Trey McBride last year. This dude is a monster. He's a blocker. He can run routes. Poor man's Gronk. Put him on your radar because give it week 3, Zach Ertz will be on the IR, and it's rocket ship, baby.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back with a couple more pods here.
It's been a complete joy.